Blog Show. Blog Show.
Welcome to the Blog Show, sponsored by Senate Insurance. I'm your host / blogger, Jamie Mottram. This is your other blogger, Dan Steinberg.
That's right, Jamie. We're going to take the fine viewers through the world of sports blogs. Our sponsor really just makes me crack up. And before we get started, I wanted to ask you, I was at the Redskins-Jets game last week. Not really the #1 game on the marquee. Yeah. Right, but if you had tickets to a game you didn't really want to go to, what would you do with those tickets?
I would live blog the game, perhaps, from the press box. I don't know. What would you do?
Interesting. I don't know what I would do exactly, but there's an Arkansas fan we saw on the internets this week who decided the proper thing to do with unwanted tickets, blow them up with unused 4th of July fireworks.
I mean, Arkansas is not even having that bad of a season. I mean, they've got a few losses. And this fan, turned his tickets into a mushroom cloud. He missed out on Darren McFadden's 300-yard record-setting performance.
321 yards, tying the SEC rushing record.
But this isn't the first we've seen of these Arkansas fans. And by the way, this YouTube is courtesy of the Wizard of Odds college football blog. Other YouTubes exist of them shooting their tickets with bullets and also burning their Razorback tickets.
And the guy actually promises that for the Mississippi State game, he's going to have an even bigger show with his tickets. So.
Yes, SEC fans are odd. There's a lot of passion down there, especially when you get a rivalry game like LSU-Alabama. When Nick Saban came from LSU, he's coaching Alabama. Now, some fans record a song about it and create a music video. Here you go.
Don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when you say that you don't need me. Well, let's go to Michigan. We could do it all again. You better come on home or we will both be sorry. Don't you want me, Saban? Don't you want me? Oh!
Don't you want me, Saban? Not only a tribute to college football, but also 80s synth pop band The Human League. Now, it was courtesy of Every Day Should Be Saturday.
And I think it was a joint collaboration, actually, with Rocky Top Talk. Give them a ding, too.
Killer collabo.
That's
Rocky
right.
Top Talk.
And speaking of SEC fans and their fanatical doings, we saw an interesting story coming out of Georgia when Georgia played Troy last weekend. And officials at Georgia were doing they're trying to save the environment a little bit.
Well, there's a drought in the southeast,
preserve water, and so they asked fans not to flush the toilet unless necessary.
And live by the following mantra: if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
That's right.
And this one came from the Associated Press via The Jaunt, which is a blog, the AP, not a blog.
But they did actually say that, and they were going to
to
also keep 2 old-fashioned trough urinals open for the game.
Oh, thank goodness. And also fans like to slide down those for cash. Speaking of Georgia football, in honor of Georgia football player Noshawn Moreno, that's a player, not a blog. The blog Bleacher Report has put together a list of the best names in college football, including previously mentioned on the blog show, Kyle Sackrider of Michigan State.
It's quite an extensive list. There's no way we could do justice to all of it right now. I wanted to mention quickly 3 guys who have kind of formal appellations on their name: Mr. Simpson from Cincinnati, Mr. Alexander from Florida State, and also don't forget Sir Darian Adams.
And then also
Michigan
the philosopher theme names: Socrates Zacharias from Carnegie Mellon, Knowledge Timmons from Penn State, and LaQuantum McDonald from Baylor. And one more, maybe too hot for TV, Eastern Illinois player Lucius Pusey, like Gary Busey.
That's right. Very careful pronunciation there. Well done. But speaking of glorious names, I guess we need to talk about the NFL. We need to talk about the most glorious name in the NFL right now, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Early on in the season, in the preseason, in fact, Big Daddy Drew from Kissing Susie Culver said that henceforth he is not Adrian Peterson. He shall be known as Purple Jesus.
Yeah, Purple Jesus. And that moniker has spread like wildfire. It used to be known as All Day Peterson. Now he's Purple Jesus, and it's pretty ubiquitous. It's almost to the level like Agent Zero for Gilbert Arenas, another nickname that came out of the blogosphere.
Crafted by the Whiz Nuts.
It came from Whiz Nuts. Well, Big Daddy Drew's at it again with another nickname. It was Purple Jesus. Now, for Cleveland Browns quarterback phenom Derek Anderson, he has bestowed the Horseballs moniker upon him.
And you're sure it actually is in honor of that.
Yes.
And I suppose this is in honor of Anderson's swashbuckling ways. We should say that Big Daddy Drew pointed out that Derek's mother gave birth to him while sliding down a log flume, and the afterbirth was fed to a baby ox. That's among the things I think I'm allowed to say on television.
Yes, it was maybe a fictitious tale about his youth growing up in Oregon, but he wrote about that on Deadspin for last week's NFL Jamboree. Should also be noted that Big Daddy Drew's king of the monikers. Last year, he coined the Sex Cannon nickname for Rex Grossman.
Right.
Also became quite popular.
The since-benched Rex Grossman. And speaking of successful NFL teams, I think we should quickly talk about the Green Bay Packers. Packers fans are kind of known for their devotion. I think they're also known for being a little bit large in the hip area, if you know what I mean. And so when this couple got married in October and they decided of a Packer-themed wedding, some of the outfits, I'm not sure how well they worked.
Yeah, you've seen some of the photos here from the Fond du Lac report. reporter via Deadspin once again. The men were dressed as players, the women as cheerleaders, and as you may have alluded to, the attire wasn't so flattering.
Well, those pants, those gold pants are really tight, and like I said, some of those ladies are, they grow them big out in the Midwest.
It's kind of a shame. You want to look good on your wedding day.
That's right.
Like a Packer.
That's right.
Speaking of fanaticism gone overboard, you had quite a find on the DC Sports blog from Extreme Skins.
Extreme Skins, the message board. I just noted briefly that there's this Korean baseball team, the LG Twins, who seem to be using the Redskins anthem, Hail to the Redskins. They're using that tune for their own fight song.
It's a gorgeous melody.
Take a listen.
Now, as a Redskins fan, that was a familiar tune to me, but I'm not sure that the words necessarily translate. Did you go to Babelfish or something and figure out what they're saying?
No, I asked my loyal readers for a translation. Someone sent in the following translation, including the verse, good-looking LG, men from Seoul, powerful LG, always competing.
Nothing about Clinton Portis or any of the Hogs?
No, it's good in perpetuity. Is that the phrase?
All right, well, moving away from football, which we spent the first few minutes of this program talking about, hockey, the season is underway, and I don't think we've talked about it, if any, at all.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, the great goalie masks of all time. Two things that we like about hockey are fighting and then the art on the goalie masks. Going 5-hole has listed the top 10 ever.
That's right. Any favorites? Did you have any favorites there?
Well, I like the first one from the late 50s, Jacques Plante. I mean, it looked like it wasn't from the 50s, maybe from like the 1550s. It looked like something like Artifact. I can't believe that actually protected him from a puck.
That was good pronunciation there. I kind of like Gary Bromley's Canucks mask. He was known as Bones, of course, for his skinny build. This was from 1980. I think also Brian Hayward's Big Shark from the
early 90s, very early 90s. Jerry Cheevers in the mid 70s with the painted on stitches across the mask. I think he suffered an injury one day, and that begat this entire theme of stitches across the mask.
I don't know anything about that. But speaking of
mid 70s hockey,
speaking of top 10 lists and such, can we talk about the Weblog Awards very quickly before we get out of here?
Yeah, I was up for this last year, and I wasn't on the list.
Mr. Irrelevant, your blog was up last year.
Finished 9th.
This year we've got an assortment of kind of some well-known sports blogs, Deadspin, Kissing Susie Colbert, Fan House, some of the blogs that we mention all the time, but we're kind of over those blogs.
Well, Kissing Susie Colbert is a reigning champ, and they're pushing hard on the stump this year to defend their title. But I think we should put the blog show support behind a up-and-comer, a British blog called The Express and Star, which, if I'm not mistaken, has only made 4 blog posts ever.
I'm not sure about that. I looked at it today. I was reading about the Wolves' all-time greatest 11, and I voted for that already. There was at least 7 votes by the time I voted.
All right, so go to weblogs.awards.org and support the Express and Star. We can't see the hooligans from Kissing Susie Colbert winning any longer.
Okay, fair enough. Before we get out of here, we want to quickly mention the Blog Show T-shirt shop where you can actually buy a Purple Jesus T-shirt. We talked about Purple Jesus earlier. I'd also like to mention that Purple Jesus is also a party drink featuring grain alcohol and grape Kool-Aid.
Also by the Sean Shazam Sweesum shirt. You had 5 for 5 on field goals this week, including the walk-off game winner for the Redskins. But before you walk off, we got to play you the YouTube of the week. This is a long-lost commercial from 1984, to be exact. Theater Vision here in the D.C. area had Joe Jacoby and Mark May as spokesmen, and the blog Scuffed Balls has unearthed this YouTube of the week.
Hi, I'm Mark May.
I am Joe Jacoby of the Washington Redskins.
I'd like you to watch us this year on a life-size screen from Theater Vision.
And yes, and you can have this set here, a 50-inch, 4-foot screen for as little as $8.95.
Blog Show was brought to you by the good people at Senate Insurance.
Kiss my bumper. Just kiss it.